Good morning, good morning. We are in the tarot study of the Hierophant. That is the original Rider-Waite. Let me adjust this so you'll be able to see all of them. Tarot of the Abyss, Wandering Star Tarot, Light Seers Tarot, Tarot of the Divine, Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. Sorry, my brain just was like, we're going to go blank for a moment here. The Wildwood Tarot, the Winter Tarot, the Star Tarot, the Tarot of Mystical Moments, brain slowed down, and the Good Tarot. Okay. And I don't like, sometimes with the Good Tarot, I don't know how I feel about it because it does feel very much like somewhere in between an Oracle and a Tarot, which is not a bad thing. But this card, I really like the Hierophant on that. That has a very much like a High Priestess vibe to it, which I know there's the High Priestess card, but still, this one has like, but like she's showing up in a different way, like this teacher mode, right? So I don't know, I like it. Today's book that we're reading is 78 Degrees of Wisdom, so get comfortable because you know this is the big mama and we got some words to read. Pray for me, you guys. Pray for me. Let's do this. Okay, we can do it. We could get through it. And hopefully, and let's pray that we get, there's gonna be some golden nuggets and it'll be worth it in the end, right? And this is the last book I think I have before we'll read, like, so tomorrow then we'll do the guidebooks, the little guidebooks, and then we'll be into the automatic writing practice with it, creating our own story with the Hierophant. So we are about done. Cheers. Okay, which I've been looking at, trying to figure out our next tarot book I want to add to the collection to read from. I don't know, I just love like hearing all the different viewpoints of the different tarot cards. I don't know, I love it. I feel like it really does, each and every different viewpoint and each and every different like way of looking at him, her, the card, it really does open up more and more like possibilities and ideas and thoughts and opinions and all the things. So I don't know, I love it. Okay, let's read. The Hierophant. In most tarot decks, trump number 5 is called either the Pope or the High Priest, terms with which connected by name as well as picture to trump. 2. The archetype of inner truth. Waite wrote that he rejected Pope because the title suggested a very specific example of the trump's general idea. The name Hierophant belonged to the high priest of the Greek Eleusinian mysteries. Now, Waite describes his card as symbolizing the outer way of churches and dogma, but his use of the mystery term suggests another interpretation, one more favored by those who see the tarot as a secret doctrine of occult practices rather than more general embodiment of human patterns. This interpretation is dramatically portrayed in the picture of the Hierophant from Aleister Crowley's Book of Thoth, drawn by Frieda Harris. That is, and I don't have the Thoth tarot. I don't know if any of you guys do, but I don't have that one yet. They do have a picture of it. I'll hold it up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it good or not, but here the trump signifies the initiation between the secret doctrines, such as the various orders and lodges which flourished around the turn of the century and which have undergone a revival in England and America. So here is that where they show, like, I can adjust this again even more so. But there's the 2 different cards, the original Rider-Waite and the Thoth one. This whole mirror image thing at the cameras is crazy. I just, All right. Carrying on. The Order of the Golden Dawn. to which Waite and Crawley at one time both belonged, possibly originated the term Hierophant for Trump 5. These two meanings, outer way and secret doctrine, appear contradictory on the most elementary level. In reality, they are very similar. Whether the two acolytes are being admitted to the church or to an occult society, they are still entering a doctrine which with a set of beliefs which they must learn and accept before they can gain entrance. There is, of course, a fundamental difference between, say, the Catechism and the rituals of the Golden Dawn. For both, however, the trump indicates an education and a tradition. Therefore, if we see the first line as describing the development of the personality, then the Hierophant coming after the natural world and society indicates the intellectual tradition of the person's particular society and his or her education in that tradition. Following Waite's interpretation and thinking specifically of the Western Pope, we can see the Hierophant as a companion to the emperor. The word Pope means father, and like the Roman emperor, the Pope is seen as a wise father guiding his children together. They share responsibility for humanity, the one providing physical needs, the other guiding spiritual growth. In one of the earliest treatises urging separation of church and state, Dante argued that the two functions must not be combined for fear of corruption. However, he never questioned the idea that the church is responsible for our souls. I don't know why I'm speaking that today. Here's the report on the Hierophant. Coming up next at 5 o'clock. Just kidding. Okay. Okay. Today, many people do not understand the basic idea of a priesthood. Our democratic age rejects the notion of intermediary between an individual and God. Note, however, the Hierophant can also symbolize the dictatorship of the proletariat or any other elite leading the masses where they cannot go themselves. Originally, the special function of the priests was evident. They spoke to the gods through the oracles, an often terrifying practice, and most people quite happily let someone else do it for them. When Christianity rejected such graphic and immediate connection to God, the idea of the priest became, like the emperor, more abstract. Basically, it depends on the notion that most people do not really care much about God. The average person is the happiest following worldly pursuits, money, family, and politics. There are, however, certain people who, by temperament, feel very directly the spirit that runs through all our lives, called to the priesthood by their own inner awareness. These people can speak to God for us. More importantly, they can speak to us interpreting God's law so we may live proper lives and eventually, after death, receive our reward of returning to God. So, thinking about all that's being said there, not to sound weird, but it feels, I mean, like, isn't that what a tarot reader is? Isn't that what a channeled reader is? Like, we are like connecting, we are how, and I feel like we are all like channeling in our own way, in our own right. So we are all the Hierophant in that manner, right? So say if you're having trouble with a certain part of your life and you come to me for a channeled reading, and then I am the standing in Hierophant for you. And then if I'm having like problems getting clarity in certain areas and I just need that extra help, then I come to you for, maybe you do channeled paintings or poems or readings or whatever it is that you do. Maybe you do the channeled writing like we've been working on. Then you would be the stand-in Hierophant for me in my life. And I feel like so we can both be, even as friends, like if we were to sit down for a cup of tea. Oh, a cup of tea. And then, and we're speaking, and I'm asking, like, I'm telling you what's happening in my life, and then advice just starts pouring from you, right? Then that's pretty much channeled, right? Because you're like, gosh, I don't even know where that came from. Like, but that sounds good to me. Yay, me, for giving such good advice. Well, they channeled through you to give. You were the messenger of that advice for me, right? And so you were the hierophant in my life at that I needed in my life at that moment. So I feel like we are all hierophants for each other, because we are all the priests. We are all the go-between, the bridge, in one way or another. At some point in our lives, we are, each and every one of us, the hierophant, each and every one of us the messenger for somebody else in their lives at some point in our lives. I think it's just so important that we see that, and we don't discount all the different ways that we show up as a hierophant in each other's lives. I think it's so important. Okay, carrying on. I felt like, I don't know why, but I felt like, and again, then there's me being the stand-in hierophant for you, because I felt like one of you needed to hear that you are a hierophant. You are the bridge, you are the messenger, but in your own right, we don't have to, each and every one of us, our messages don't have to come across the same way. Yours could be amazing images hanging in the walls of galleries. And that's how your messages are coming through. And you're changing lives the same as anyone else. It doesn't have to, all of our messages aren't supposed to look the same. They're not supposed to be the same. Yours could be, maybe yours is coming up with the perfect sense, like essential oil combinations and different ritual oils or aromatherapy oils, and you're changing lives by healing, and in that particular way through the sense of smell. And that's amazing. Each and every one of us has our own like little gifts and touches, and our gifts and touches can change and shift through time, right? And that's okay too. Okay. After the resurrection, we ourselves will dwell in the sight of God. In life, however, we need the priest to guide us. So runs the argument. Even if we agree with the principle, in practice it tends to break down. People become priests for all sorts of reasons. Ambition, family, pressure, etc. While those who do feel a genuine calling to communicate with God may show very little talent for communicating with people. Me. Moreover, like the social institutions of the emperor, the religious institutions of the hierophant can easily become corrupted by the authority given them, so that the priests see their power as an end in itself, prizing obedience above enlightenment. Obviously, the position of defending a doctrine will attract a doctrinaire people. Perhaps, however, we reject the idea of guiding priesthood for a more subtle reason. Ever since the Reformation, a notion that has gained greater and greater force in the West is that of the individual's ultimate responsibility for him or herself. The whole idea of an outer doctrine, a code of rules, beliefs accepted on faith, depends on the assumption that most people prefer to have someone else tell them what to do and think. This may very well be true. To really discover God inside yourself, you must undergo some uncomfortable confrontations with your own psyche. Similarly, to decide for yourself what is the moral thing to do in all situations might require a constant agony of choice. Nevertheless, many people today simply cannot accept either society or a church bearing the ultimate responsibility for their lives. Perhaps the interpretation of the Hierophant as representing secret doctrines and suits our age better. From then, the doctrine does not tell us what to do, but instead gives us direction to begin working on ourselves. And the tarot, as we saw with the magician, sets itself against all the churches by leading us to a personal salvation in this life. For Crowley, the Hierophant represents initiation as a means through which the individual becomes united with the universe. I would really like to have that off tarot, and then but I would need also that book that goes with it, because there's a separate book that goes with it, like a bigger book than just a little tiny guidebook, and I think to help us. Ding, sorry. Okay. The form and doctrine. Part 2. The form and doctrine of the initiation change with each world age. Having lasted nearly 2,000 years, the current Piscean age is coming to a close, so that the Hierophant is due to change, as will all strictly human relationships. Crowley comments that only the future can tell us what the new current of initiation will be, but the basic quality of initiation as merging with the cosmos always remains the same. In the Bota version of the Hierophant, as in the Rider-Waite pack, the cross keys at the Hierophant's feet are gold and silver, representing the outer and inner ways, the sun and the moon, the magician and the high priestess, which the doctrine teaches us to combine. In the Rider pack card, both keys are gold, indicating that the dark side is hidden from those who follow the outer doctrine. In the Waite-Smith imagery, no veil blocks the entrance to the church, as in the temple of the high priestess, but the pillars are a dull gray. Those who enter here may receive protection from personal choice, but they will not pierce the secrets of duality. The unconscious remains closed. In many tarot decks, the high priestess holds not a scroll, but a small book locked, and the keys of the Hierophant do not fit the tantalizing lock. Interesting. Still, we must not think that the outer doctrine of the religion serves no purpose to the seeker. Like the general education of which it is a particular example, it gives the individual a firm tradition in which to root his or her personal development. The modern Western phenomenon of a kind of eclectic mysticism, drawing inspiration from all religions. It is an extremely unusual development. This is based possibly on global awareness plus the view of religion as a psychological state divorced from science and history. Thus, we see religion as an experience rather than an explanation of the universe, and accept that all religions' experiences are valid, whatever contradictions they show on the surface. While the idea opens great possibilities, many people have noted its potential shallowness. The fact is, throughout the centuries, the great mystics have always spoken from deep within a tradition. The Kabbalists were thoroughly Jewish, Thomas A. Kempis a complete Christian, and the Sufis bowed to Mecca with all other Orthodox Muslims. In its best aspect, the Hierophant as outer doctrine can give us a place to start in creating a personal awareness of God. Good. Refresh. One further aspect of cards. The card symbolism deserves special attention. The position of the three people, that is, a large figure presiding over two smaller ones on either side, introduces a motif that repeats itself, like the two pillars of the high priestess throughout the major arcana, and is resolved in judgment and the world. The very next two cards after Trump 5 repeat the motif, with the angel over the lovers and the charioteer of the chariot over the black and white sphinxes. I don't know if I heard the term charioteer. I'm assuming that's how you say it. because this charioteer. We can see this trio, carrying on, as an emblem of the idea of a triad, such as the Christian Trinity or the triune picture of the mind, the id, ego, superego of Freud, or the conscious, unconscious, superconscious of the three lines of the major arcana. To introduce the meaning of the image, we must return to the high priestess. She sits between the two pillars, symbolizing the dualities of life. She herself signifies one side, the magician the other. The Hierophant initiates two acolytes into his church. We see, therefore, that the Hierophant and the lovers and the chariot all represent attempts to mediate between the opposing poles of life and find some way not to resolve them, but simply to hold them in balance. A religious doctrine with its moral codes and explanations for life's most basic questions does just that. If we surrender ourselves to a church, the contradictions of life all become answered, but not resolved. In reading, the card signifies churches, doctrines, and education in general. Psychologically, it can indicate orthodoxy, conformity to society's ideas and codes of behavior, as well as, more subtly, a surrender of responsibility. The emperor symbolized the rules themselves and their official enforcers. The Hierophant indicates our own inner sense of obedience. Reverse, the card means unorthodoxy, especially mental, forming original ideas. It can also, however, mean gullibility. And this idea suggests another virtue of the card when it is the right way up. A society builds this intellectual tradition over hundreds of years. Those who accept that tradition receive from it a standard by which to judge new ideas and information. Those who reject it must find their own ways and can easily get lost in superficial ideas. There are many people who, having given up the dogma forced on them as children, fall into some new dogma, a cult, or some extremist political group, just as rigid and perhaps more shallow. Having rejected tradition, they have not really rejected the Hierophant. They have not accepted responsibility of truly finding their own way. Amen. And so it is. Whew. So that, my friends, is 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack. A tarot journey to self-awareness. I feel like I sound like Star Trek. We are on the journey. And it's upside down. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me and learning and diving into all these cards. But I would love to add to these cards the Thoth Tarot and the Tarot of Marseille. I think this next one is showing the Lovers one. It shows the Tarot of Marseille. And that's another, like, that one there, you're not going to be able to see it too great, but that's another deck I would like to add to our collection to be able to put as part of our study. Because again, just like reading from all the different books and opening our minds to different interpretations like that, art does the same thing. So that's why it's so important for us to realize that we are all Hierophants in our own way, in our own right, by putting out whatever it is that we're putting out, because it comes to us information and ideas and all the different things, and these messages come in different forms, whether through song, through art, through words. It comes to us in all these different forms, and we need to be open to all of the different ones. We need to be open. That helps us to open our senses, exposing ourselves to all the different images of the different cards, exposing ourselves to all the different words from all the different books, exposing ourselves to different scents and to different, like they have said with our sacred spaces. It's so important to like bring in all this, the different things that stimulate our different senses, our sense of smell and feel and touch and sight, because it helps to open us up. It helps us to to be aware of all of our senses. And whenever you're aware of something, it brings to light something, and which brings it expands that something, right? All right. Amen. So it is. Mwah. Much love. I will see you tomorrow.